The coastline, a dynamic boundary between land and sea, is constantly shaped and reshaped by the relentless forces of nature. While this dance between the elements is a natural phenomenon, human activities have increasingly tipped the scales, accelerating coastal erosion and jeopardizing delicate ecosystems, communities, and infrastructure. India, with its vast and vibrant coastline, stands as a poignant example of this global challenge. India's coastal regions are not only breathtakingly beautiful, but also vital to the nation's economy, ecology, and cultural heritage. These coastal zones are home to teeming fishing communities, bustling ports, fertile agricultural lands, and unique biodiversity hotspots. However, the relentless erosion of these shores poses a significant threat to these invaluable assets, demanding immediate attention and concerted action. Coastal erosion, in its simplest form, is the gradual wearing away and displacement of land along the coastline. This natural process is primarily driven by the persistent action of waves, currents, tides, and storms. Like an artist meticulously sculpting a masterpiece, these natural forces carve out cliffs, shape beaches, and reshape the coastal landscape over time.
Imagine the relentless crashing of waves against a cliff face, each surge chipping away at the rock, gradually undermining its stability. Over time, this persistent erosion can lead to dramatic collapses and the retreat of the coastline. Similarly, currents flowing parallel to the shore can transport sand and sediment, redistributing them along the coast and altering its shape.
India, with its expansive coastline stretching over 7,500 kilometers, is particularly vulnerable to the impacts of coastal erosion. According to studies by the National Institute of Oceanography, approximately 40% of India's coastline is prone to erosion, with some areas experiencing alarming rates of retreat. This erosion translates into the loss of precious land, threatening livelihoods, infrastructure, and the delicate balance of coastal ecosystems. The eastern coast, particularly the states of West Bengal, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh, are among the most affected, experiencing erosion rates of up to 25 meters per year in certain areas. The western coast, while generally less affected, also faces significant challenges, with states like Kerala and Goa witnessing increased erosion in recent years. While coastal erosion is a natural process, certain natural phenomena can exacerbate its impact, accelerating the rate of erosion and amplifying its consequences. These natural culprits include the relentless pounding of waves, particularly during storms and cyclones, the gradual rise in sea levels due to climate change, and geological factors such as the type of rock and sediment present along the coast.
Imagine the sheer power of a cyclone making landfall, its ferocious winds whipping up towering waves that batter the coast with unrelenting force. These extreme weather events can cause rapid erosion, stripping away vast stretches of coastline in a matter of hours. Similarly, the gradual but persistent rise in sea levels driven by climate change is slowly but surely swallowing coastlines around the world, including those of India.
Section 5. The human footprint, our actions, their consequences.
While nature plays a significant role in shaping coastlines, human activities have increasingly tipped the scales, accelerating erosion and exacerbating its impacts.
Unregulated construction along the coast, the destruction of natural barriers like mangroves and sand dunes, sand mining for construction purposes, and the dredging of rivers and harbors for navigation are just a few examples of how human actions are disrupting the delicate balance of coastal ecosystems.
Consider the construction of massive resorts and residential complexes along the coast, often encroaching upon the natural shoreline.
These structures, while intended to provide enjoyment and accommodation, can disrupt the natural flow of sand, starve beaches, and accelerate erosion in adjacent areas.
Similarly, the removal of mangroves, which act as natural buffers against storm surges and erosion, leaves coastlines exposed and vulnerable to the full fury of nature's wrath. Section 6. A coast in peril. Impacts on ecology, communities, and infrastructure. The consequences of coastal erosion extend far beyond the loss of land, impacting delicate ecosystems, disrupting the lives and livelihoods of coastal communities, and jeopardizing critical infrastructure.
From the displacement of fishing villages to the salinization of agricultural lands, the impacts of erosion are multifaceted and far-reaching.
Imagine a once thriving fishing village, its homes and livelihoods swallowed by the sea as the coastline recedes. The displacement of communities is a heart-wrenching consequence of erosion, forcing families to abandon their ancestral lands and seek refuge elsewhere.
Furthermore, the intrusion of saltwater into freshwater sources due to erosion can contaminate drinking water supplies, impacting human health and agricultural productivity.
Section 7. Combating the tide: India's response to coastal erosion. Recognizing the urgency and magnitude of the challenge, the Indian government has taken significant steps to address coastal erosion and mitigate its impacts.
These efforts encompass a multi-pronged approach, ranging from scientific research and monitoring to the implementation of hard and soft engineering solutions, as well as community-based initiatives. One notable initiative is the development of the Coastal Vulnerability Index, or CVI, a tool that assesses the vulnerability of different coastal stretches to erosion, helping prioritize areas for intervention. Additionally, the government has implemented integrated coastal zone management plans, aiming to regulate development activities in coastal areas and promote sustainable practices.
Section 8. Beyond the surface. A deeper dive into solutions. Addressing the complex challenge of coastal erosion requires a holistic and multifaceted approach, going beyond traditional engineering solutions to embrace nature-based solutions and foster community engagement.
Investing in scientific research to better understand the dynamics of coastal erosion, promoting sustainable land use practices, and empowering local communities to become stewards of their coastlines are crucial steps in the right direction.
Imagine a coastline fortified not just by concrete seawalls, but by thriving mangrove forests, their tangled roots acting as natural breakwaters, dissipating wave energy, and protecting the shore. Mangrove restoration and the creation of artificial reefs are just two examples of nature-based solutions that can effectively mitigate erosion while enhancing biodiversity and providing valuable ecosystem services. Section 9. Conclusion. Safeguarding our coasts for generations to come. The relentless erosion of India's coastline is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of human activities and the natural environment. As we continue to develop our coastlines, it is imperative that we prioritize sustainable practices, integrate nature-based solutions, and empower local communities to become stewards of their coastal heritage. By embracing a holistic and collaborative approach, we can mitigate the impacts of coastal erosion, safeguard vulnerable communities, and preserve the ecological integrity and economic vitality of India's magnificent coastline for generations to come. The time for action is now, for the sea, once it loses its patience, is slow to forgive.